There we go. Okay. So taking what is for you will be a comfortable seated position. I don't mind how you begin your practice. So whether you want to sit kneeling, whether you want to sit with your legs out straight in front of you, then please go for a comfortable seated position. And remember, if there's some tightness in your hips, if you're struggling with your knees, adapt. Always work in the most safe and considerate way for your own body. All right, so we don't want to, just because we're flowing this morning, there's less opportunity for me perhaps to keep an eye on you, and maybe you will feel less inclined to stop or to adjust yourself. But I want you to forget that ego part and actually stay within the sensitivity of your own body. And if something feels right, go with it. But if it doesn't feel right, I want you to feel free to adjust. Feel free to put a knee down on the floor, or rest in child's pose, or make an adaptation or modification that works really well for you and for where you're at today. Okay, so with your comfortable seated position, take your fingertips down to the floor by your sides. Take a lovely big breath in and reach the arms up above your head, and exhale, bring them down towards your heart. So we're going to keep going with that. Let's do a couple more breaths. Breathing in, breathing out. One more time. See if you can find Ujjayi breath, so breathing down the back of your throat, slightly restricting the muscles of the back of the throat so you're narrowing the vessel. And then gently let the hands rest in front of your heart. Close your eyes and just for a moment be with your breath. So the breath is never looking to be forced. You're not looking to lengthen the breath necessarily, but just simply keep it steady and slow. Just feel that as we take this opportunity for some stillness, I'd like you to set for yourself your own intention for your practice today. So maybe it's the intention to clear your mind space, clear the clutter, clear the cobwebs. Perhaps it's to give your body a little bit of exercise, so you're generating some warmth and kind of cleansing, clearing, helping to keep the body in tip-top form. Perhaps you're just here because this offers you an opportunity for some time to yourself, some well-deserved time. Just you, your yoga mat, and your practice. Okay, so we'll take another couple of breaths. And then release your hands into your lap and slowly open your eyes. Okay, good. Place one hand on the floor next to you. Don't mind which side you go. Take another breath and sweep the other arm sort of diagonally and look towards your thumb, please. As you breathe out, bring the hand towards the back of the head and behind the ear. And then as you breathe in this time, open the elbow a little bit wider out behind you so you can feel a stretch all the way down your side body. As you breathe out, bring the elbow across your body towards the opposite knee. Don't worry if this first one feels tight. Breathe in, lift the elbow back up to the ceiling, turn the heart upwards. Breathe out and bring the elbow across towards the opposite knee. If it gets there, brilliant. If it doesn't, don't force it. Breathe in, opening up again. We'll do a couple more of these. Breathing out and turning towards the opposite knee. Breathe in, opening up the chest. A little bit of rotation, a little bit of movement in the waist. And breathing out. This will be the last one. Breathe in, come all the way up, open that arm back up to the ceiling, And then breathe out, place it down onto the floor by your sides. Beautiful, lovely, lovely little rainbow waves going on across the screen. So breathe in, take the other arm up and look up towards your fingers, really stretch up. Breathe out, bring the hand towards the back of the head. Then as you breathe in, turn the rib cage, open the heart to the ceiling, take the elbow back. Breathe out, take the elbow across towards the opposite knee. Breathing in again and opening up through the side body, gently turning towards the ceiling and breathing out across towards the opposite knee. Keep going. Go at your own pace. See if you can keep your breath lovely and smooth and steady. And moving with your breath. This is really important. So you move with the inhales, you move with the exhales. And as you begin to refine your practice, so this will be your last one, breathing in, one more coming down and exhaling down. So working with the breath so that the breath initiates the movement. This time open the arm all the way up to the ceiling and breathe out, bring the hand down towards the floor. Good. Okay, just sit back a little bit, release your feet in front of you. Place your hands onto your knees. Take a breath in and the knees can open out wide a little bit and you're going to move your heart forwards. Doesn't need to move very far, but try to keep it lifted. And then breathe out, lean back into your hands so your arms are straight, your chin towards your chest, your tummy is sort of curled in. And then breathe in, lengthen through front body, tilt the pelvis forwards, elbows bend. That's nice. Breathe out, gently curl and round, spread the shoulder blades. Breathe in, come forwards, and breathe out, lean back. One or two more times, just continue to go at your own pace. And breathing out. One more time, breathe in and out. Good, come back up to a central position and now slide your feet a little bit wider apart so you're into a nice triangle seated position. Make sure your sit bones are comfortable, sit on something, extend out through the heels, have the toes high. Press gently down into the ground through the backs of the legs. If you do need to keep the knees bent here, I'd suggest probably moving the feet closer together so that you can try to keep the legs nice and straight. Sit up plenty tall, please, so that you are kind of grounded through the sit bones, but the spine feels nice and long. Take the hands down. Breathe in and reach the arms all of the way up towards the ceiling. Link the fingers, turn the palms inside out and take a nice big stretch upwards, pressing down through the backs of the legs into the floor and reaching the heels of the hands up high towards the ceiling. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, gently side bend, leaning over. Breathe in, keep the legs strong, they're going to hold you steady here. Breathe out, gently side bend to the other side. Breathe in, come back up to the center and breathe out, first side. Breathe in, keep the legs strong, press the backs of the feet, backs of the calves into the ground. Come back up to the center. Good. Now exhale, lower the arms out in front of you and reach forwards, tilting from the pelvis, not worrying about coming down close, but just feeling the stretch maybe on the inner thighs as well as the back of the thighs. Drop the chin towards the chest so that you're not straining the gaze or the throat. Keep reaching the heel of the hands forwards, pressing out through your fingertips. And then gently come back towards the center and release. Maybe give your wrists a bit of a shake if they need it. Very nice. Okay, now bend the knees. Excuse me. And you're going to have your hands maybe supporting you a little bit, but I want you to, and if you're sitting on something, you might want to take that out. I want you to rock your knees over to one side and you're turning to look all the way out behind you. Your hands moved across towards the opposite knee. Then you're coming back. Your knees are lifting, they're rolling over to the other side. You're taking your hand across to the opposite knee and you're twisting. So you're going to go side to side here. So we've got a little tiny internal rotation for one hip. This is what I want you to feel. Let this hip travel, this top hip travel with you, and turn to look over the shoulder. And just go side to side, please, a few more times. So you can go at your own pace, but make sure it's not too fast. I want you to enjoy the movement. So go slowly, no shocks, no sudden movements for the body. And gently reaching and turning, staying tall in the spine. Just feeling how you can maybe incorporate lots of different sensations. So movement in the hips, movement in the thoracics. Good. One more on each side, please. Just enjoy a little bit of rolling around. And then last one. Lovely stuff. Come back to the center. Slide the feet away. Bring the feet sort of together and then just rock the toes from side to side. So my feet are a little bit naughty. They don't want to start kind of stick together. They want to do their own thing. But see if you can bring your toes so that they are moving together. And this will feel quite nice around the pelvis. Good job. Okay, come over onto an all fours position when you are ready. Okay, so because we're going to be kneeling for this next one, if you want to put a foam block underneath your left knee, you can do, or you can curl up the edge of your mat or use a blanket, that sort of thing. And I'd like you to take your right foot forwards now. So it doesn't have to be a very big step forwards, but you do want to have a little bit of a diagonal line to the left thigh rather than the left thigh being vertical like it is, like mine is now. So just lean forwards a little bit, please. When you're ready, you're going to come up onto the thigh and we'll just remember the basics of the pelvis, okay? So whenever we're in any kind of warrior variations or lunges or lots and lots of standing poses, we need to create stability in the pelvis. And it will be your job to keep remembering to do this. So thinking about your tailbone lengthening towards the back left knee or down towards the ground. And thinking about the front of your hip bones lifting upwards towards the seat, towards the lowest ribs. And instead of letting the low ribs flare outwards and stick out, I want you to keep them moving down. So you're trying to contain this space here, and you are then using your deeper core muscles rather than the superficial six-pack muscles on the front of the abdomen. We want to use the deeper ones. So lengthening the tailbone down, keeping the lower back fairly flat. I don't mean, because we're never going to lose the curve of the lower back, and I don't want you to, but I do want you to be mindful that sometimes we can hang into the lower back space and then it takes a lot of the brunt of what we do, okay? So with all of that in mind, tailbone down, front of the hips up, hands released by your sides. I'd like you to inhale, keep the front hips lifted, but lunge through the left hip a little bit, please. Good. Then as you exhale, the hands are going to come down to the floor and the front toes are going to lift up, and you're leaning your sit bones back to stretch the hamstring on the right leg. Then coming up, the foot goes flat again, breathing in, control what the pelvis is doing. So lift the front of the hips up. Good. And then bow down as you breathe out. Right toes lift, stretch the back of the right leg. Keep going. We'll do one more of these. So breathing in, coming all of the way up, and breathing out, coming down. Good. All right. So now I'm going to be a little bit mean to you. Okay. So I'd like you to tuck your left toes under. Place your hands, your palms going to come down on the floor. Start to lift your left knee. Stretch back through your left heel, so your left foot, leg is becoming straight. And then I'd like you to drag your right foot, so don't let it come off the floor. You can be higher up onto your fingertips if you need to. You're going to drag your right leg along the floor, don't let it come off, don't let it come off, and then come into a downward dog. And just pause here, make sure that the pelvis feels even and that you've got a nice balance across the back body, length of the spine. Think about pressing into the thumb and index finger side of the palm, and just breathe for a moment or two. All right, notice perhaps what's going on in the right leg compared to the left, and we will get to that side in just a sec. So take one more breath here. Very nice. Then you're going to take your block, if you used it, across to where your right knee will be in just a moment. However, if you want to, you've got a couple of options. You can bring your right knee down, step your left foot forwards, or you can drag the left foot all the way forwards, try to inch it forwards, see if you can get it as far forwards as you can, then bend the left knee and put the right knee down. So we're just basically coming back to our lunge position. Then on an inhale, breathe in, come all of the way up, reach up, lift the front hips, hip bones, feel the stretch on the right thigh, and then as you bow down, fingertips come to the floor, left toes lift up, press back through the hips. Come up, breathe in, make it flow, breathe, and exhale, gently lower. Hands come down, left toes lift up, hips move back. Stretch the left leg. One more time, breathing in, coming all of the way up. Breathe out, coming all of the way down. Good. Okay, plant the left foot back down onto the floor. Tuck the right toes under, lift the right leg. Just pause for a minute in that nice long lunge position, and then not taking your left foot off the floor if you can. And remember, you can always put your right knee down and step back that way if you want. But see if you can slide your foot down the mat to reach your right leg, and pause again in downward dog. Just move the block out of the way if you've used one. All right. And soft knees here, take the sit bones back and up, let the head hang in between the arms. Press into the thumb and index finger side of your palms. You feel that the arms and shoulders are working strong. And then taking, when you're ready, your right foot up into the air, stretch it up nice and high. And as you breathe out, float your shoulders over your wrists and bring your right knee to your right elbow. Breathe in, take the foot all of the way back up into the sky. And as you breathe out, bring the knee across to the left elbow, turn the body a little bit to the side. Breathe in, come all of the way back up to the ceiling. Breathe out, elbow to right elbow, so knee to right elbow. One more time, breathe in, come up, knee to left elbow, turn. Come all of the way up, bring the foot up high, press down through the left heel and lower the foot to the floor. Pop the knees down onto the ground, untuck your toes and take a moment to pause, to give the wrists a chance to roll, to soften the shoulders and to find the breath again. So if you lost the breath, if you found it's got a little bit ragged perhaps, or you would like to kind of concentrate on it some more, make it your focus for the next round. So now you know what you're doing on the other side. See if you can stay with the connectivity of the breath. So let's float the shoulders forwards, please. Sorry, the hands forwards. And float up to all fours. Tuck your toes under, take your bottom back, find a lovely downward dog. Soft knees, draw the navel in, press through the thumb and index finger, really set the pose. And then on an inhale, take the left foot all the way out behind you and high. Exhale, shoulders over the wrists, knee to left elbow. Good. Breathe in, come up, foot high. Stretch the arms. Breathe out, knee to right elbow, turn to the side a little. Breathe in, foot comes high, reach it up. One more on each side, knee to left elbow, breathe out. Keep with the breath, breathe in and out, turning, knee to right elbow. Lovely, foot to the sky, place the foot down, knees come down again, untuck, toes bottom back towards the heels and rest. Very good. So a couple more breaths. All right, so float forwards up to an all fours position when you're ready. Okay, so what we're going to do is just a tiny little bit more upper body work because I really want to keep the strength in the shoulders and the arms. We are going to do little preparations for coming down into chaturanga. So you could lift your feet off the floor, and some people cross the ankles one over the other. Now for me, that gets really tough on my kneecaps. I don't particularly enjoy it. It's better if you double up the mat or if you kneel onto something soft like a blanket. So you could try that if you wanted to go for this slightly stronger variation perhaps, but it might just be better for many knees to keep the feet on the ground. The most important thing, however, is to use your core. So I want you to draw the navel in towards the spine to keep this area the same as when we did the lunge. I want you to keep shortening the pelvis, the front of the hips towards the low ribs, so you're containerizing the abdomen. Then think about turning your elbow creases, so the inside edge of your elbow, slightly turn it towards the top of your mat, please. Then keeping the elbows high, so the elbows aren't coming out wide, they're not dropping down lower, they're staying above the wrists. I want you to lean your shoulders forwards and then come back up. So you could do this with the feet crossed, the knees off the floor if you want. Keep the tummy nice and strong and see if you can do maybe 5 of these, please. Just coming forwards and back up. So remember, use the thumb and the index finger side of the palm, turn the elbow creases forwards, and just lowering the shoulders, so you're really working your triceps here. And back up. Let's do one more of these. Belly strong, keep your core going, and back up. Well done. Stretch back to child's pose. Give the wrists a rest, give the head a rest. And breathe. Good. All right, so can you come and lay on your tummy now, please, everybody? Come lay down, chin or forehead on the ground, hands down by your sides, legs nice and long, and we'll do a little bit of Shalabhasana. So we'll just start with the classic lifting the arms and the legs together. I'd like you to inhale and lift the legs, turn the palms to face the side body, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. Then breathe in, come all of the way back down. Breathe out to gently lift. Breathe in to lower. Now notice the breath is a little bit different to how we normally practice it. See whether if you're breathing out into the back bend, if it creates a little bit more maybe resistance for you. But sometimes on the inhalation, when we back bend into the inhalation, we can be a little bit more free and we can move maybe a little bit more deeply, but we're maybe not ready for that yet. Okay, do one more of these, please. Very nice. Then when you're done, make a pillow for your forehead to rest on and wiggle your hips from side to side. All right, so a little deeper variation now, a little bit more upper body. So I want you to bring your hands by the sides of your rib cage and have your elbows towards the sides of your body, shoulder blades drawing towards one another across your back. Now, as you're going to come up on the inhale now. So as you inhale, you're going to lift your legs and gently press into your hands. So you're lifting your upper body higher and then gently come down. So do a few more of these, breathing in. See if you can bring your ankles together. Squeeze the inner thighs and gently come down. Couple more times, keep going. Ankles together, press into the hands. Nice, and down. One more time, breathe in. And out. And again, make a pillow for your forehead. Wiggle your hips from side to side. Good. So one last variation. Bring the hands round behind the back body and link your fingers. So take care with shoulders here. If you've got a shoulder injury, you might want to leave this bit out. We're going to come into Shalabhasana with the hands behind. Your emphasis is to keep the heads of the shoulder bones slightly turned forwards, but to lengthen the arms down towards your tailbone. If they want to lift off your back body, go for it, but it's not an essential thing. So take an inhalation when you're ready and lift up. Keep the arms nice and long, heads of the shoulders forwards, lift the feet, squeeze the inner thighs, and then gently come down. Do this again, breathing in. Inner thighs squeeze towards one another, arms lengthen towards tailbone, and come down. Last one, breathe in. Legs really firm and strong. And come down. Again, release arms, rest your head, soften your shoulders, wiggle your hips from side to side. Good. Okay, so popping your hands under shoulders, lift up to your hands and knees, and just take a little round of the back body into a cat stretch. So draw the navel upwards towards the spine, soften the shoulders, spread out the back of the neck. And then, excuse me, tucking under the toes, take your bottom backwards towards your heels and open up into downward dog. Very nice. Take your right foot up to the sky and step it through to the top of your mat. If you need to put something underneath your back heel to give you a bit of support, we're into balancing warrior. We will bring the heel down in a minute, but know that if you need to, you just spin the heel down to the floor whenever you want to. Make sure the right knee is above the right ankle, and on an inhalation, gently lift all of the way up to the ceiling. So find your positioning, tailbone down, front of the hips up, reaching up through the fingertips, but if this is too strong, you bring your hands to your heart. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, gently release the hands and bring them behind your back body again. Either link the fingers or hold the opposite wrists. Roll the shoulders back, but point the heads of the shoulders forwards. Spin the left heel down to the ground and turn the body towards the top left-hand corner of your mat. Take a breath in here, and as you breathe out, gently fold your way down towards the top left-hand corner of your mat. Keep the right knee bent and breathe. Very nice. Take another breath here, and then gently release your hands to the floor, either side of your right foot. Lift up your left heel and baby step your left foot a little bit closer and out to the long edge, to the left-hand edge of your mat. So you're squaring your legs for pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. So the right leg is straight, the left leg is straight, the left toes are turned out at a bit of an angle. Lift your heart so it's in line with your hips and reach your arms forwards. If this is too strong, just bring them back in front of your heart or have them down onto the floor. Take a breath or two here. So nice, strong, lengthened pose. Reach through the fingertips, press into the left heel, hold it here. And we're going to turn. So I'm going to stay facing the camera, but you might have your back to me. Don't worry if you do. So you're going to bring your hands down and bend your right knee. And you're going to walk your hands around to the side. So if you can see, I've got my back to you at the moment, but I'm just going to turn around so that you can see. And I want you to come into a wide-legged position with your feet, your toes turned in slightly, your legs nice and straight, and I'd like you to fold down towards the ground. Okay, so take a breath or two here. Okay, then taking an inhalation, lift to halfway. Put your hands on your hip creases, soft knees, and lift yourself up. Okay, so don't worry if you've turned at a funny angle, but if you do want to turn yourself around to the face of the camera, it's fine. Bring your arms out in front of you and bend your elbows. Take your right elbow on top of your left and wrap the arms around for eagle arms. If this is too much, hold the opposite shoulder instead. So you've got your eagle arm position. Now turn your toes slightly out or bring your heels slightly in and lower down into a goddess squat. So knees opening out wide towards the baby toe side of the feet, sit bones lowering, spine upright, lift the heart, and then lift the elbows, lift the hands. So as you're sinking down through your seat, you've got your elbows nice and high. Remember you've got your right elbow on top of your left because you need to go the other way in just a sec. So take another breath in here, another breath out, good job. And then release the legs, so stand up, release the arms, swing them out wide, take them out to the sides like this. Very nice. Bring the hands onto the hips, bend the knees and spin the heels out again. Start to fold forwards all the way down, coming into that wide-legged forward fold. Head releases, hands can release. Good. Now we're going to go towards the other end of the mat. So you're going to walk your your hands towards what will be your left toes, and you're turning your body with you. So you're going to point towards the back end of your mat. And I'd like you to come into the pyramid pose again. So I would like you to bring your right foot so that it is out wide to the side of the mat, toes turned out, both legs straight, lifting halfway, arms reach forward. So we're doing exactly the same poses, we're just facing the opposite way along your mat. So keep the belly nice and strong, pressing into the right heel, take the left hip back, fingertips nice and long, gently breathing here. Good. Then we're going to transition slightly differently. So bend the left knee and stand up a little bit higher so that you can more easily take the hands behind your back body and roll your shoulders back a little bit. Remember, you can hold the wrists if you prefer. You're going to need to take your right foot a little bit further back down the mat. Have the toes more turned out to the side so that you can point your body to the top right-hand corner. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, gently fold towards the top right-hand corner, keeping the left knee bent and the right leg nice and strong and long. Take another breath or two here. Good job. And then inhale to come all of the way up. And as you come up, release your hands, spin up your right heel and take both arms up towards the ceiling for balance in warrior position. Reaching up nice and long, front of the hips lifting. Very good. And then breathing in again. As you breathe out, fold down towards the ground, and you're going to spin your feet so you're turning back into your wide leg forward fold position again. Okay, so I'm going to turn around so you can see me. So you should all look a little bit like this, and you can fold down towards the ground. You can put your hands on the floor and lift the sit bones, open up the back of the legs. Good. Then you might like to bring the heels a little bit closer in. Then bending the knees, lifting yourself up, you're coming back into your goddess squat position. Arms out in front, elbows bent, left elbow on top of right elbow and wrap them around. Sink the bottom down lower, lift the elbows up higher and breathe. Very nice. One more breath. Keep it steady and smooth, bottom a little bit lower. Good. And then release the arms out wide to the side again and straighten the legs. Give them that little bit of respite. Well done. Then spin the heels out. Start to fold halfway down with the arms out wide. Strong legs, strong inner thighs. Breathe. And then lower the hands down to the ground. You're going to spin yourself so you're pointing back towards the top end of your mat. So let your feet travel with you. Coming back into that long lunge now. So left knee bent, right leg stretching out behind you. I think that's the way. Don't worry if you've got it the other way. Actually, don't worry, that's me being silly. I would just want you to come into a forward fold. So step your foot forwards and hang down. Hold on to the opposite elbows. Good job. And then releasing the elbows and slowly rolling, coming up to stand. Good. Bring the hands out wide, palms come together above your head, and exhale, hands to heart. Very nice. Just pause for a moment, maybe close your eyes. Let your breath settle. Okay. So we're going to come into some warrior twos. So I don't mind if you want to adjust your position so that you can see, but we're going to do right leg first, left leg second. So just the kind of keeping with the normal order of things. So you can keep your hands at your heart. You can keep your right foot where it is and take a big step back with your left foot. Bending your right knee. So I know that I've got my back to you, but it doesn't matter so much about that. I want you to have your hands at your heart and then straighten your front leg. As you breathe in, open the arms out and bend the front knee. As you breathe out, bring the hands back to the heart and straighten the front leg. Let's do two more of these, breathing in. So make your foot position longer if you need a bit of extra stretch. Breathe out, bring the hands back, straighten the front leg. And again, breathe in, hands lift. Breathe out, hands to heart. Lift up the back heel and step forwards to the top of your mat. And then step back with the right foot so we can do the same thing on the other side. So adjust your foot position and then begin with a straight leg. Breathe in, arms lift, knee bends, warrior two. Breathe out, bring hands to heart. So just find some steadiness with the breath again. Breathing in, looking down, left fingertips. Breathing out. Let the breath kind of govern the movement and the depth of the movement. Good. Coming back. Slightly lifting up the back heel to step forwards and bringing the feet together. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, bend the knees, let the sit bones sink and lift the arms. Breathe in, come back up to stand. So breathe out, Utkatasana. Breathe in, hands to heart. Good, another couple of times. Breathe out. And breathe in. One more time, breathing out. And breathing in. Okay, start to bend both knees and lower the heart to a half forward fold. So you want to create space in the low back by lifting the sit bones and reaching the heart forwards. And then take the hands forward. So you've got a half forward fold with the arms out in front. Breathe here. Good. Now bring the hands to the hips. Take your body weight into your right foot. Lightly lift the left foot out behind you. Maybe the toes just touch on the floor. You could stay here and then bring the arms forwards again. Or for those that want to lift, you're going to take your left foot out behind you and find Warrior 3 pose. Good. Bend the right knee. Step the left foot all the way back. Bring the hands to the heart. Very nice. Gently breathe in, lifting all of the way up. And as you breathe out, spin up the back heel. Press the hands down towards the ground. Now we're going to take a 3-legged down dog. So you might need to baby step your left foot in just slightly. Breathe in, drag the right foot back if you can, and take it all the way up into the air. Bend the right knee and bring the heel to the bottom. And then you're turning at the waist. So turn the pelvis to look underneath your arm so that you're in a twisted 3-legged dog position. Feel this nice stretch into the hips. Very nice. Now some of you might like to keep flipping your dog so that you bring your right foot to the floor behind you and you can lift your right arm off of the floor. Some of you will prefer to go the other way, the wild thing, where you bring the foot underneath your body as though, if you imagine a clock face, if your left foot is 6 o'clock, you want your right foot now to be at about 7 o'clock. And you're spinning your heels around, lifting your left arm off of the floor and opening up into a back bend. An alternative here is to take a side plank. So you could be doing this instead. Okay. So when you're ready, come out, come back to a downward dog position. Well done. Take your right foot up to the sky. Step it up towards the top of your mat. Bring the left foot up as well. Fold down into Uttanasana. And then bring the hands to the heart and come all the way up. Breathe in. And breathe out. Good job. Just pause for a moment. Breathe. Enjoy the beating of your heart. Okay. So feet move together again. Outside edges of the feet parallel. Big toe joints together. For Utkatasana, always, if you need to, you can keep your hands at your heart. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, shin bones fall forwards, sit bones sit down, arms lift up. Breathe in, come back. Breathe out, come down. And back. Good, one more time. All right, super. Now soft knees, if you need to separate your feet, you can do. Fold to a Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Arms can reach forwards if you want them to. Use the strength of the inner thighs. Even if they're apart, imagine squeezing them together. Hold this here for another breath. See if you can get your hips further forwards. And then bring your hands to your hips. Take your body weight into your left foot. Take the right foot back, toes touch on the floor. And you could simply just take the right arms forwards. You can have a little bend in your right knee, that's fine. And if you want to float up into a warrior 3, go for it. Hold it, breathe. And remember, you can put hands on your hips if you need to. Bend the left knee, step the right foot all the way back. Bring the heel onto the floor if you like, and lift the arms up for Virabhadrasana 1. Good job. Take a breath. Spin up the back heel as you breathe out. Bow the hands down. And you're dragging the left foot back. So drag, 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 drag. And then sweep it all of the way up into the air. Press down through the right heel. Bend the left knee, bring the foot to the bottom, stack the left hip, turn the body to the side, look under the arm. You could stay here. You could transition into a side plank, make sure you do the other side. You could flip back, or you could bring the foot underneath, this time to 5 o'clock. Spinning the heels so the toes point back, lifting the right arm, coming up. Good. And then gently coming back. And as you come back, lift the right foot all the way up into the air. Sorry, it was the left foot. Oh dear, getting the left and right muddled up. I'm so sorry. Bring both feet down. Bring both knees down. Untuck your toes and rest into child's pose. Good job. So really enjoy these next few breaths. Good. So I'd like you then to come to lie on your tummy again, please. So come forwards. Hands down by your sides. And we're going to bend both knees. And I'd like you just to practice a little bit of a hamstring and glute stretch or glute strengthen first. So I want you to lift both knees off of the floor. They might not lift very far, that's okay. And then bring them back down. And again, lift both knees, super lift, squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the back of the legs, and then come back down. So please don't worry if they don't lift very far. Last one, coming up with the knees, squeeze, 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 and come down. Okay, just rock the feet from side to side a little bit. Nice. Then come back to center. And you can either do a supported Dhanurasana, where your hands are back where they were before. Keep your feet, knees bent, and you can lift up into this kind of a Dhanurasana. Or those of you that want to reach back for your feet, you're going to hold the tops of the feet or the ankles, and you're going to lift up. Now you could do this on one side and then do the other if you, but just take care of shoulders. So breathe in, keep the fronts of the shoulders, the heads of the shoulders pointing forwards. Lift your chest, lift your knees, lift your feet. Good, and come down. So do come up and down a couple of times, please. So breathing in and out. Remember, just modify if you need to modify. You're going to do one more. Nice. Beautiful. And come down. That's lovely. If you want to release, you can rock your feet again from side to side as we just did. Good. And then popping your hands underneath your shoulders, lifting yourself up, back to an all fours position and gently rounding the spine. Breathe out, breathe in to come back to neutral. Breathe out to round. Breathe in to come back to neutral. Last one, breathe out. And breathe in. Okay, so now into camel pose. So you might want to double up your mat so you've got some extra support for or padding for your knees. You could tuck your toes under here, and the slightly higher heel position is useful to put your hands onto. And I'd always recommend starting like this anyway. You can always put your feet flat in a moment. Another option is to put something on top of the back of the heels like that, so you've got less distance to travel down to. Now, it's really important that when you come into camel pose, you do your best to do it evenly, because if you reach one hand down and then the other, you're going to create some torque across the back of your body, and I don't want you to do that. So do your best. I would always have my knees about hips width apart, but I want you to actively use your legs, so your inner thigh muscles that you've used a lot today. I want you to activate your glutes and your hamstrings, so strong thighs. So get those muscles squeezed and held on now. Then send the front of your hips forwards. Lift your heart upwards. Let your shoulders come back and see if you can reach both hands back to find your heels at the same time. Then when you've found your heels, keep sending your hips forwards. Keep lifting your heart up. You can let your head fall back and come into the pose. Now, another alternative is just to have your hands on the small of your back and to practice a milder version. So you don't have to come back with your hands onto your feet if you don't want to. Okay, so breathe here. Firm the inner thighs. Send the hip bones towards the top end of your mat. Lift your heart up to the ceiling and always imagine that you're putting length and space into your spine. If you want to untuck your toes and go a little bit deeper, go for it. If you're ready to come out, come back to a neutral and maybe drop onto your hands so that you can roll the spine into a cat curve. Okay, good. So to come out, everyone, chin towards your chest. Gently ease forwards, keeping fairly even symmetrically. Untuck your toes, lean forwards onto your hands and gently curl your spine. So you're really just easing yourself out of the extension and into a bit of flexion. You can come back to neutral again, and then you can ease into a cat stretch. Nothing too strong, not forcing. Just gently easing. Last one. Okay, good job. So let's come down to lie now. So untuck your mat. And if you have a brick or a block, you're going to put that in between your thighs. So you're going to come down to lie and maybe just put the brick in between your legs. And we're going to come up into bridge pose. So we are going to work with the hands staying by our sides or bringing them underneath the body. But if you are not liking the hands behind your back, we have done that a fair bit, then you could sweep the arms up and over your head and bring them back down like that. Okay, so feet in towards your bottom. Brick if you've got it. squeezing the inner thighs. If you haven't got one there, just imagine that one is there and you are really working the inner thigh muscles. Breathe in and lift the hips as high as you can, squeezing the inner thighs, squeezing and noticing how the glutes are working, hamstrings are working, feet are solid on the floor, and then gently come back down. Okay, so I want you to keep going with this, breathing in, squeezing the block, lifting up, and then breathing out to gently come down. Couple more times, please. All right, so make sure your inner thighs are doing all the work here. Try not to let your knees do the squeezing. Good job. Okay, do one more of these. And then you can take a rest. Now a rest might be just lying still and getting ready to repeat the same exercise in just a moment. However, some of you might like to come up into Chakrasana, into wheel pose. And there are loads of ways to modify this. One of the best ways that I find, so this is if you've got them available, is to maybe put some bricks underneath. So this is for you if you find this a bit of a tricky pose. You can put some bricks underneath your feet, and that can really help. You could also do the same, instead of underneath your feet, you could also put them underneath your hands, but I would use a wall for that probably. So wheel pose is the hands coming alongside or just so the fingertips point towards the shoulders, and you lift up the hips to come into the pose in the same way like a bridge, but then you roll onto the top of your head and you start to lift the back body up towards the ceiling, pressing into the hands, squeezing the back of the legs and opening the heart, really creating space. So you're to come down, you gently lower, bring the chin towards the chest and roll onto the back of your head, and then just stay back into your kneeling position. So if you're familiar with that pose, if you want to practice it today, go for it. I would really recommend practicing it. It's great for your strength and stamina, and it just puts us out of our comfort zones because we don't do it so much. I don't do it so much because it creates a little bit of unease, if you like, being upside down and in a big back bend. However, if you are not practicing that, maybe because of your shoulders, I want you to keep going with your bridge pose, because bridge is an excellent preparation for wheel. You're doing basically half of it. You're still opening up your spine, you're still getting the strength into your legs, but you're not just incorporating the shoulder aspect of it. So if you've got a shoulder injury, it's definitely one to maybe skip. Okay. Keep going, Victoria, I can see you. So Rachel, that's it, that's really nice. Then arms nice and strong, lift up. Well done. Good, okay. So then making your way back down and just hugging your knees in towards your chest and having a rock from side to side across your back body. Okay. So we're going to prep for another inversion, but maybe this time just a shoulder stand. If you want to take a shoulder stand, then I would always recommend doubling up your mat and maybe putting a folded blanket into the middle of into the middle so that of the fold, so that you've got something there to support your shoulders. And then you can bring yourself to lie down. Now, if you want to use a wall to do this, feel free. Or if you'd rather just lie with your feet in the air or into Viparita Karani, so legs up the wall is great. Another option for those doing Viparita Karani is to bring a brick underneath the back of your hips, and just to create a little bit of elevation there. So that's your alternative. This is your alternative. Ladies, if you're menstruating this week and you don't want to come fully upside down, or if your energy levels mean that you need just a little bit of a gentler practice. However, if you're shoulder standing, you want your shoulders to be sort of in line with the edge of your fold, your extra bit. You're going to bring your hips up, your hands onto the back of your hips. You're walking your elbows as close in towards each other, bringing your chin, your chest towards your chin, your feet, your legs coming up, and you're just working that pose. And just see how you feel coming into it. Or taking legs up in the air instead. So you're still getting the benefits of the inversion, but without the same intensity. Okay, so many yoga practices use this, use a shoulder stand as an opportunity for cooling the body down. It's said to be very good for releasing the throat, it's good for the thyroid, that sort of thing. If you want to bring the feet back behind you, I know lots of you have done, so very well done. And if you have the benefit of a bit of furniture near you to maybe tuck your toes under or onto, and you want to have a bit of a play, that's really nice. Like I can see Federica's walking her feet down. That's nice, beautiful. All good. So we kind of make use of the props we have available in our rooms around us. All right. So you can stay for a little bit longer if you wish to. If you're ready to come down, you're going to bring yourself gently and supportedly coming down to the ground. Okay. So just spend a moment, remain lying for just a little bit longer. Okay. So then maybe rolling to one side and coming up to sit briefly so we can prep for fish pose. Legs out nice and straight, sitting onto your hands, rolling the chest open and laying down. So tummy muscles are strong here, bringing the elbows to the ground, pointing the toes a little bit, lifting up the chest nice and high, and letting the head drop back if you want to. If it reaches the floor, do not put any pressure onto the top of the head. Keep the arms doing all the work here. Lovely. And then you can gently lie back down. So release chin to chest and lay yourself back down onto your mat. Okay. So if you've got your block or your cushion, you're going to put that back in between your thighs now. And you're going to start with your knees bent, knees above the hips, knees at right angles. Hands just behind the back of the ears, the elbows out wide. And I'd like you to gently lift your head off of the floor so that you're looking towards your thighs. So this is your start position. This is where you're going to exhale into. As you inhale, I want you to lift your legs up straight, squeeze the inner thighs, but lower the head to the floor. And then as you exhale, bend the knees and curl up. Breathe in, legs straight, head lowers. Breathe out, curl up. Keep going, breathe in, breathe out. And in, and out. 5 more of these, please. Good, 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Lovely. And release. Release the feet back down, release the block, and wave the knees from side to side. Very nice. The next time the knees come over towards the right, leave them there. Take your right foot and put it on the top of your left knee, just to weigh it down a little bit and to give the left hip a little bit more of a stretch. Take the left arm into a cactus, so a right angle position. You can have your right arm in there too if you want to. Maybe turn your head towards your left side. Take a couple of breaths here. And then releasing the foot, bring the knees back to the center, head back to the center. Exhale the knees over to the other side. And then take the left foot and rest it on top of the right knee. And again, just weighing down the right leg so you feel that really nice, delicious stretch, turning the gaze towards the right. Okay. So then let's inhale, come back to the center. Gently release the knees, release the head. Bring the hands back down by your sides. Hug your right knee in towards your chest and slide your left leg down to the end of your mat. Give it a nice big squeeze in. And then if it feels comfortable, straighten the leg up towards the ceiling. Hold the back of the thigh and just draw the leg a little bit closer in towards you, just to give that right leg, right thigh a little last stretch out. If it feels okay, lift your head off of the floor, walk your hands up towards your ankle and curl yourself up a little bit more tightly. Good. And then gently release. Very nice. Keep a hold of your right knee with your left hand. Take your right arm out to the side and then take the knee across to the left and just use this as a nice rotation to ease out the spine. Maybe turn the head towards the right hand. Use the left hand to weigh the right knee down here. So you've still got your left leg straight, just in a little line twist. Then inhale, come back to the center and slide the right leg away. Now take the left knee in, give it a little squeeze in towards your chest. And you could just stay here. Or taking the leg up straight, you can lace the fingers around the back of the thigh and again, draw the leg a little bit closer in towards you if you want. Or option to walk the hands up towards the ankle. Lift the head. Take the elbows out wide to the side as you bring the head a bit closer towards the leg. Good. Release back down. Hold the knee with the right hand, take the left arm out to the side somewhere comfortable, and then roll the knee across to the right, taking the gaze to the left. Breathing into the upper part of the rib cage. Just feeling the middle of your back releasing. Taking another couple of easy breaths. And then returning back to the center when you're ready. And sliding your left leg away from you down towards the end of your mat. Bringing your hands down by your sides. If you need to cover yourself over, you can do. Just coming into a brief pause, a little bit of Shavasana. To settle your body, make sure that your ankles are a little bit wider than your hips. The back of your heart is resting on the floor. Shoulders supporting your upper body. Head feels heavy. And your body is ready now for some stillness. Ready now for you to just let it rebalance. Feel as symmetrical as you can. Just let your breath move easily in and out of your body. Let its steadiness and its ease, comfort and reassure. This is from a passage called Breath from the Eternal, and it's taken from the Upanishads. The little space within the heart is as great as the vast universe. The heavens and the earth are there, and the sun and the moon and the stars. Fire and lightning and winds are there, and all that is now, and all that is not. The little space within the heart is as great as the vast universe. Perhaps you can take your attention there now. Okay, so I'd like you to bring your awareness back into the room you're in. And when you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers and toes and turn your head from side to side gently. Take a stretch out any way that feels good. And when you're ready, you can roll over gently to one side and come round and up to sit. Excellent. All right, so come and sit comfortably. Take your fingertips to the floor next to you. Breathe in together one final time, bringing the hands above your head. And then exhaling your hands down to rest in front of your heart and closing your eyes, dropping your chin towards your chest. Breathing softly and gently in and out, appreciating all the stillness, all the peacefulness, all that feels good and right at this moment in time. Cast your mind back to your intention and query whether or not it has been fulfilled. Or perhaps that fulfillment is still yet to look forward to. Taking another breath in, opening your eyes. Namaste. Lovely. Good job. Well done, everybody.